Welcome to the channel. March 26th, 2024. In the still darkness before dawn, Baltimore, Maryland, was shaken by a disaster few could have imagined. At 1:25 in the morning, the massive container ship MV Dali lost power as it approached the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Within minutes, a mayday call was issued. Key Bridge shut it down. That warning stopped traffic and saved countless lives. But the ship kept drifting. At 1:29, it struck a support pier. The four-lane bridge, a symbol of Baltimore since 1977, collapsed into the Patapsco River in a roar of twisted steel. 6 construction workers who were repairing potholes fell with the bridge. Only 2 survived. Rescue crews mobilized instantly. Boats, helicopters, and divers searched the water, but the Key Bridge was gone in less than a minute. The collapse made headlines around the world. For Baltimore, it was a devastating blow. For the United States, it was a wake-up call. How safe are our bridges? And how vulnerable are they to accidents involving giant ships? But the Key Bridge was not the last tragedy. Fast forward to August 22nd, 2025. Thousands of miles away, another disaster unfolded, this time in China. Along the Yellow River, workers were putting the finishing touches on the Jianzha Bridge, part of the ambitious Sichuan-Qinghai Railway project. It was no ordinary structure. This was to be the world's largest span double-track, continuous steel truss arch bridge, and the very first railway steel truss arch to cross the legendary Yellow River. A symbol of engineering pride. But at around 3 o'clock in the morning, disaster struck. During a critical tensioning operation, a steel cable snapped. In an instant, part of the massive bridge collapsed, pulling workers down with it. At least 12 construction workers were killed. 4 more went missing. The collapse stunned China, not only because of the loss of life, but because this bridge represented national progress and technological ambition. The response was swift and enormous. More than 800 rescuers rushed to the scene. 27 boats scoured the waters. A helicopter circled overhead. Even rescue robots were deployed, searching the river for survivors. Despite the scale of the effort, the tragedy left deep scars. Families were left waiting for answers, and officials began urgent investigations into what had gone wrong. 2 collapses, 2 countries, 2 very different bridges. And yet, both stories share haunting similarities. In Baltimore, a blackout on a ship turned into a disaster of infrastructure. In Qinghai province, a snapped steel cable turned an engineering marvel into a deadly scene. In both cases, it happened in the quiet hours before dawn. And in both cases, lives were lost in seconds. These collapses remind us that even in an age of advanced engineering, the structures we rely on remain vulnerable. Steel and concrete may seem unshakable, but they are still subject to human error, mechanical failure, and the unpredictable forces of nature. For the families of those who died, the losses are personal, not just structural. They were fathers, sons, brothers, workers who showed up in the middle of the night to build or repair what society depends on. Their sacrifices will not be forgotten. For governments, engineers, and the public, these disasters are lessons carved into history. They raise questions we must answer. How do we make bridges safer? How do we protect workers and travelers? And how do we rebuild not only structures, but trust? The Francis Scott Key Bridge will one day rise again over Baltimore's harbor. The Jianzha Yellow River Bridge will likely be rebuilt as well, carrying the dreams of China's westward railway. But for now, they stand as stark reminders that in the quietest hours, when the world is at rest, even the mightiest works of human hands can fall. And when they do, the cost is measured not just in steel and concrete, but in lives.